Welcome, everybody, to the September 12th Utilities Committee meeting. We're going to get started right away with the Foster Pilot Project update.
Okay, are you seeing my the agenda screen?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
So Foster Pilot Project, I reported last time that we met that we had made some pretty good progress with the Squaxin Island tribe and with Fish and Wildlife, had some comments from each of them. And we were still trying to work with the Suquamish tribe. Well, we were able to have a meeting last week with them and all of our foster team and Fish and Wildlife. And it looks like we've made some progress now. I'm very happy to report. We have kind of an agreement on the concept with Squaxin Island, and I think Suquamish is coming along, but we need to answer a few more questions. There were some more emails flying around today, going back and forth from our sub-consultants. And so I'm hopeful, put it that way. I'm not sure that we're going to meet our hoped for timeline of getting that reports of examination submitted this fall, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed that we at least get it done before the end of the year.
So Jackie, go ahead.
I'm sorry, is there a particular sticking point that seems to be fairly common, or is it just a whole list of things?
Well, with the Squaxin Island, they wanted, and they actually suggested that we have a side agreement aside from the reports of examination for the wells or for the water rights that that gives us a little bit more flexibility, because when we write a report of examination to ecology, it's kind of in a box, has side rails. This is what we're going to do going forward for our augmentation and mitigation plans. Doesn't really give us flexibility if, for instance, a piece of property at a headwaters of a creek opens up for us to purchase, to protect it and put it in the conservancy. That would be a way more beneficial project than just replacing a riparian zone. Okay, so we want to be able to have that flexibility to pivot. And as I said, they actually suggested that we have this site agreement. So that's where we are. Like I said, we're agreed in concept. We wanted to get an agreement in concept with the Suquamish before we went down the path of actually presenting them with a draft report. So our sticking point with the Suquamish was they were stuck with the fact that their consultant, who I thought was a hydrogeologist and actually ends up that he's just an engineer, is absolutely adamant and advising them not to accept anything where we've done any changes to the model. Well, as you know, the model is incorrect because it doesn't show that QA4 aquifer. So we told them, finally, they kept insisting that we needed to use the model as it was. Finally, in this last meeting, and this is the headway that we made, we told them that our consultants, Joe Becker from Robinson Noble, as a hydrogeologist, could not sign a report that didn't acknowledge that last aquifer because it would be contrary to his licensing. So they agreed, and we said, look, we can do the augmentation and mitigation plans as if it weren't there, but we cannot produce a report that says that it's not there. So that's where we finally are close to reaching an agreement in concept. And then, we were, until we got them to admit that, we were not able to get them to even discuss augmentation and mitigation with us. But at this last meeting, we spent over an hour discussing specific plans for different basins. So it was very, yeah, it was very encouraging.
Good, thank you.
You're welcome.
So Jackie, once we submit the reports of examination, then what?
Then we sit and wait for ecology to make decisions.
Huh.
I do know that ecology doesn't have any, oh, here comes Noah. Sorry, just a moment.
Okay.
I know that ecology does not have anything that causes them to have to make a decision in any particular time frame, but I know that they have been waiting for this. I got an email from Matt Rakow, who is ecology's person that's he's a hydrogeologist that's kind of overseeing this project under the guise of their water resources director, which is Dave Christensen. So Matt emailed me a couple weeks ago and said, where are you guys? Are you going to do your submittal? Because he knew that we were looking to submit this fall. So they're waiting for it. I think that they'll probably and Yelm did get their rights. So I think they're probably just waiting to be able to start the processing.
Good.
So you think that we would maybe get our rights sometime next year and be able to respond by getting going with the wells and such?
Well, we can all keep our fingers crossed. Yes, I'm hoping so. If we have an agreement in principle with the Suquamish and the Squaxin and Fish and Wildlife, I don't know what other group would have a problem with it, because if none of those three groups have a problem with our reports of examination, then I can't imagine how any other environmental groups would have an issue, because they're kind of the most stringent.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. Can
Welcome.
only hope.
And the asset management program update. The rest of this stuff is on here is really just updates. I just wanted to keep you guys in the loop, let you know where we were with things. Asset management program, we are very close to having a final request for proposal for our computerized maintenance management system. We've been having internal meetings about it and meetings with our consultants, and we have a draft that everybody has made comments on, and I expect that request for proposal in the next couple of weeks, and then we'll go out to bid and see what kind of software we can get. So
Okay.
if anybody has any questions as I go through these subjects, please stop me and I'll be happy to elaborate.
Okay.
Next, the McCormick Woods Sanitary Survey. Every 5 years for most Class A water systems, the State Department of Health Office of Drinking Water does a site visit and does what's called a sanitary surveyor. Now, it just so, and as a matter of fact, the city of Port Orchard, because they had findings time before last, is on a 3-year rotation. So we did a 3-year last year with them, and hopefully after the next one, we'll be back on a 5-year cycle. So that's what it takes to get off of that. So the McCormick Woods Sanitary Survey, I happen to have that qualification to be able to survey systems. So I just went out, I had the guys do what they knew to do and take the list of pictures that you saw in the packet. And I actually went out and pretended like I didn't know the system and did a sanitary survey, caught a couple more things, took a couple more pictures, because I knew that the construction is going on at well 11, which we'll get into in a few minutes. So it would be difficult for them to see some of the stuff they need to see. Any orifice that's an opening to allow air to breathe in a water system to go in and out, it needs to be screened, that kind of stuff. So we removed everything that was screened and took pictures of it, and you saw those in the packet. So the bottom line is we got no findings. We had one little small thing, but it's not, she said it's something that is just going to be in a letter to you. It's not even going to be anything to worry about. And at the same time, she was accompanied by the engineer that oversees the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund program, who, because we were doing McCormick Woods, that's who's funding well 11 is DWSRF. So she did an audit of that program while she was out there, and that came through with flying colors. I also asked her, I told her about our project at well 7, and it just so happens that this engineer used to be the engineer for Kitsap County, so she's familiar with our system. They were both really happy that we found that well 4 that everybody's been looking for so many years. And I told her about our proposed project to move the treatment system and settling basin over to the bottom of Port Orchard Boulevard and get it away from City Hall, and so that we don't have that stretch of unchlorinated system. And she told me that there was plenty of money in the pre-construction fund. So I just need to get the paperwork in. It looks like we're going to get that $500,000 for that project. So.
Oh, cool.
And once we get, just to remind you, once we get pre-construction dollars, which we just got the $1 million for Bay Street, and now this will be $500,000 for well 7, that gives us an extra, I think 5 or 10 points when we apply for the actual construction dollars to get us up above the other applicants. So,
Jackie, can you remind me, well 4, is that the one over at the Boulevard?
No, well 7 is the one over at the Boulevard. Well 4 is one
City Hall.
Well 4 is the one that we actually traced it out and lifted up a concrete panel and found it that it had been treated over. So
that's the artesian one here.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
I'm good, thanks. Okay, so moving on, if you didn't have any more questions about that, moving on to the metering system update. That is, we have purchased, and I have show and tell for you. They'll be upstairs in the council room if you're able to get up there a little bit early. Some meters showing you what we did have or what we have been putting in, and the new ones that we have chosen. We we've been using census meters for quite a while with brass bottoms, and we went to their newest iteration, which is called an iPearl meter. It's all I go blank on this word every time. Noah, what's the word I want that it's made out of? It's plastic anyway. And yeah, there's a word for it. I can't.
Like rosin?
No, it's I don't know. I can't think of it. I'm blank. Anyway, so we were concerned about, because I've heard problems that other municipalities have about the threads stripping out since they're made out of plastic. So we bought 60 of them as a pilot just to try them out. The guys installed 30 of them last week in new services only in McCormick Woods so that we could keep the radio contained. We're trying to do this in little small bites phases. And so they didn't have any problem with any of them. Looks like they're going to be good. So we're going to go ahead and go down the path of starting with the next phase, which is I set up a meeting for Monday with the representative of census meters to come out and go over some information with our billing folks, as well as Sean for the IT end of it, to decide whether we're going to go straight to try a radio read, whether we're going to use cellular as our connector or our communicator, or whether we're going to use antennas, or how exactly we're going to proceed with the next step. So we're moving down the path of having a smart metering system.
Great.
Hey, Jackie, can I add to that? Unless, John, did you have a question?
No, go ahead, Mo.
I was just going to add from the finance department's perspective, I'm very excited about this project overall, moving this city towards smart meters, where we're not having to send crews out to manually read the meter. I mean, we are really behind all the other cities out there. When I go to different conferences and stuff, they talk about they're on the the wireless system, using the technology and infrastructure available to read from City Hall meter flows, and that'll allow us to better monitor customers' accounts. If there's a leak, allow customers to be able to put their own notification system on when they go on vacation from their accounts. So it provides us tremendously better value to our customers. And so Public Works and Finance have been teaming up. I'm excited to, you guys should go see out the meters. They're really cool. I think they're cool because I don't get to see this cool hard equipment very often. I'm usually in the software land. But we did talk with several partners. Bremerton uses the iPearl. So excited where this project's going. Excited to talk about it more in the mid-year review. I think both Public Works and the Finance Department and the Mayor are all aware that we would like to expedite this particular project. I think there's a lot of value that we can get from a cost side to lowering our costs from having 2 utility Public Works employees out there every 2 weeks reading meters versus being able to read from City Hall. And there's so much productivity we can gain there to have crews doing something else that's more value added to the city. Meanwhile, we'll keep costs a lot lower. So huge project. I'm very excited for it, and look forward to meeting with the vendor on Monday.
Hey, Noah,
I could certainly understand that, employee and employee time, staff time is a valuable commodity that's harder and harder to achieve these days. So the better use of time staff that we already have is worth its weight in gold. So I think it's worth the investment as well. I think it's great.
what's the suggested or recommended communication? Is it wireless or is it radio?
Well, go ahead, Noah.
So I'll give my thoughts and then Jackie give her thoughts. I think you have 2 schools of thought right now. Reed's been around for easily 20 years. That's where I mean, like we are well behind the times, and the new technology of using the cell towers and the antennas is where the future is going. And so for Bremerton, they're actually using that. Other cities are going that direction because you get real-time data, real-time monitoring. Even in Bremerton, they can actually turn off meters and slow down meter trickle flow from City Hall rather than having to send out a crew.
Sure.
And it's no different than Puget Sound Energy and other utility providers that aren't water. They have these systems that work, and they've worked for a long time. So we're just slowly catching up. So that'd be my thoughts. I'm obviously at City Hall, so I would prefer to have that real-time live data and not having to send crews out in the truck to drive by, but be able to pull the meter reads daily, weekly, hourly, whenever we need to do it to monitor an account rather than to create a service order, send a truck out to drive by a specific location.
Spoken by somebody that gets to play with software a lot.
That is very true. I will also mention that this city is actually very fortunate to have at least 4 staff members, and I realized that today when we had our meeting, that have been through this process before. You have Jackie, who has converted a city like this before to radio reads. Sean, who came from Florida, he has also gone through this process, and they did not do radio reads. They went with the higher end technology of using the towers, and they said it worked fabulous there. Gretchen also went through this process in Yelm and using radio reads to monitor stuff. And so you have a tremendous management team here kind of monitoring the progress with experience to really pull this off.
So,
no,
no, would
one
the
of the things-
idea be, oops, I'm sorry. Would the idea be to replace our meters over time? All
So
of the
that's-
meters?
Yeah, so that's where we're evaluating right now. Like Jackie started a discussion by talking about any new construction projects rather than we're going to the new meter that has the capabilities for either radio or cell tower. So it's already built into the capability of the meters we're now installing on the new locations. So then now it becomes a matter of evaluating what can we do with our current meters that are out there. And that's where we're going to meet with the representative on Monday to confirm that is it just a simple attachment that we need to go to install? Is it a complete meter replacement? Parts of the city are manual and old, and those will be a complete meter reinstall.
Mhm.
So a small portion of the city has that. A larger portion has these nicer brass meters that I believe has an attachment to simply add to the device to make it work. But that's where we're going to meet with the representative on Monday to see what they have and how that works on the backside.
Okay.
Now, if I can piggyback on what Noah's saying, having been through this, actually more than once, I strongly feel that it's important to, once you decide on what system you're going to have and you convert all of the ones that can be converted and don't have to be completely changed out that are really old manual meters, that we do this as a global project and possibly even hire a contractor to come in and do a global replacement. Otherwise, you end up with what we have now, where we've been working on this for probably 15 years, and we still only have less than a third of the meters in the city replaced with touch read, the oldest technology other than just manual. So I really feel strongly, and there's another aspect to this too. We don't have a test bench to know what the accuracy of these really old meters is. And that meter is, of course, our cash register. So we may be losing quite a bit of income. Meters, as they age, slow down or under register. They don't over register. And that's one of the great things about these new iPearl meters, is there's no moving parts inside them, nothing to wear out. So they don't lose their accuracy. And like I said, I'll have the stand. I've got a couple of the meters, the old meter and a new meter, for you to look at this evening as you go into council meetings. So,
Do we have an idea of the average cost of, say, a single meter?
well, with the radio there, I believe Noah was the number 175 sticks in my brain.
And how is that paid for?
From our revenue.
Us or new construction.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we already currently budget in new meters as residents come in because we have to drop meters. So
Sure.
I think me and Jake, I gotta go confirm this, but I think these iPearls were less expensive than the brass meters, but I can't be certain.
Yes, they were, but once you put that added radio on them, depending on how we communicate, is what is gonna is gonna determine the cost.
Yeah,
But you're gonna have to look at the time savings, staff time savings as well, because that's huge.
Yes,
yeah.
Sure.
And one
Yeah.
of our biggest challenges with water meters and water meter reader people, staff, is that we have high turnover. That's one of our highest turnover positions. They just don't stay very long. So we're constantly retraining for 6 weeks, and then the person leaves, constantly retraining, trying to recruit. It's a challenging position.
What's
Yeah.
not to like about a dog chasing you around somebody's yard, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Whoa.
great thing about the timing for this project too is that, you know, if we add staff members to be able to manage this project and manage and do the actual work, then by the time the project is completed, we'll be large enough to support that added labor in the public works shop. So
Cool. Okay, that's happy news. All right, moving on. Are we good? Projects update?
I'm just trying to get my mouse to work here. My mouse went dead for some reason.
Aw.
Well, come on, mouse, where are you? There it is. Okay. Okay, so now we can move on to the projects. And like I said, this will be really quick. The McCormick Lift Station 1, this is the one that was designed by McCormick and designed and built by McCormick Communities. And we've had some challenges with it, with water intrusion, as well as the lines chattering, movement of the lines as the pumps start up and stop. So they have installed 2 air vacs to compensate for the line movement. Now we just need to wait for the wet season to see if their efforts to seal the thing and stop the water intrusion are successful. So I just wanted to let you know that those were installed this summer, the 2 air vacs.
Jackie, was there much of water intrusion?
Yeah, there was to start with, and they've done a lot of sealing, so we just have to see how successful it's been. We've done a lot of grouting and other, you know, ways of sealing, so it's those concrete, you guys have toured out there. Mark, I don't think you have, but Cindy and John, I believe you were on that tour. You can see, if you remember, those concrete stairs that go down. I mean, any water that's rain or water or anything is going to run right down those stairs. So we kind of are of the opinion that it wasn't that great of a design to start with, and that there should be a water stop on those stairs. So we'll see if they've been successful. So.
Yeah, we spend so much time and effort to try to get stormwater out of our wastewater system that we can't let it just happen again. So.
Well, and this doesn't even go into the sanitary sewer system. This pool's at the bottom of the stairs where the guys have to go.
Oh, so they're wearing hip boots.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
So, okay, so well 11 is now under construction. As I said earlier, we did an inspection out there on last Friday, and everything is going well. They've cut down quite a few trees. Anybody that's been out there in the area, we had to remove some trees in order to move the transformer because the power, because it has some contamination potential chemicals inside of it, could not be within the sanitary radius of the new well. So we had to move the transformer. So, but we are under construction and moving along.
Right.
And the Marina Lift Station, we have not issued the notice to proceed on that one yet. But we're trying to get going on that so that we don't end up bumping our head against our limit for our funding. We have to have everything that we're going to bill Department of Ecology under the $13 million loan has got to be done by May 30, is it 31st or 24th of 2024. So.
Well, the more we delay it, the worse weather we get into for this type of work. So.
Right. So Chris is the engineer that's in charge of that project, and he's pushing it along. We've got some pretty long lead times on some of the equipment, is one of the things that's a problem. So
Yeah.
And next, the Bay Street Lift Station. Nothing's been done with that yet. I just wanted to keep it on your radar because we don't have the documents from the Public Works Board yet, just the notification that we did receive the award, or we can get up to $1 million for those pre-construction money. And 150,000 of that will be forgiven because we are a distressed community, according to their, so we get
Wow.
$1 million, but we only have to pay back 850,000, so.
Okay.
So the 390 zone booster station, the next three on here, the booster station, Melcher, and the lift station controls were all Public Works Board loans that we received in 2021 cycle. Unfortunately, the 390 zone booster station, after the engineers dug into it, we put together an engineering agreement with Art Anderson. And when they did the modeling and looked at it, the concept for that one is not going to fly. So we're going to have to abandon that project. It's not going to work the way we wanted it to. Unfortunately, we were trying to put a booster station up at the Sedgwick property, but it's just hydraulically it won't work. So then Melcher booster station, we have 100% plans on that, and we're waiting for the final iteration and bid ready documents, and then we'll be able to go out to bid to rebuild that station. And the lift station controls upgrade, we are kind of delaying that one a little bit to get into better in a more favorable bidding arena. And we have already gone down the path of ordering, aside from the contract, the generator, because there's a year lead time on that as well. So that's 6 of the lift stations are going to be upgraded, as well as adding a generator to one of them. So, and then well 7, I talked about that a little bit. The chlorinator issue is the chlorinator that's down here in the basement, underneath in the little building by the police parking lot. That chlorinator was only meant to be a temporary chlorinator to start with, and so the guys have been really holding it together by the skin of their teeth and keeping it running. And so I think it's time for us to go and get a chlorine generations equipment that we have been putting in our other systems. And we've had the person you'll see a contract on the consent agenda to get this chlorination equipment. We've had them design it so that it can be installed by them and it can be moved over to the new system over at well 7 when we move over there. So it'll be the same equipment. We won't have to buy it again. So, and I'm sorry?
I said, nice.
Oh, good. And then lastly, as I reported earlier, the DWSRF project, that's where I was so encouraged when Jocelyn told me that they had money left for that project, and I know she's supportive of it. While I had her here, I went ahead and took her down and walked her around well 7 and the treatment system over here, so she could see the antiquated equipment that we're dealing with and what needs to be replaced. So, and that's what I have for you this evening.
That was a lot.
Yes.
You
Lot
got
of
a
good
lot of
stuff.
words out.
We have our fingers in a lot of pies right now, I'll tell you.
A lot of good stuff.
Yep.
Okay, sounds good.
Jackie,
Yes.
on that 390 zone booster
Just
station,
1 second.
that-
The
that
janitor's
you-
vacuuming. Just 1 second. The janitor's vacuuming. Let me close my door, okay? Can't hear you. Okay, sorry about that. What was that now, Mark?
on the 390 booster station that you said is not going to move forward, it's not feasible. Did we
Right.
receive any funding for that project? And if so, what happens at that point?
We did receive funding for it, and we've only it was in the very beginning concept stages that we found out that it wasn't going to work. And so we've done very few draws on it. I think, didn't Kathy say there was like only 10 or 13,000 that we've drawn, Noah?
Oh, hey, good memory, Jack. Yeah, we've spent 13,000 on that, and we've drawn $13,000 on the Public Works loan. And so Jackie and I have talked about this, and the plan would be if we're closing this project down because it's not fit to go forward, then I think my plan is going to be just to pay off that loan altogether. It's $13,000. There's no need to carry a $13,000 20-year loan.
Mhm.
It's just more administrative hassle than anything. So I would just repay that loan with our water revenue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just need to contact the Public Works Board and let them know that we're not gonna be moving forward with that one and why, and hope it doesn't hurt us on funding in the meantime, but I guess you can't win them all, you know, I mean, we had to do this exercise in order to find out whether or not it was feasible, so.
Right, right.
So the concept
And
of what drove this initially is just going to be forgotten? I mean, we're
Well,
giving up this idea, or do we have another plan?
Well, actually, I've kind of come up with a little bit of an alternative plan. One of the issues that we have, or the main issue that drove this project, is the difference between our 260 zone and our 390 zone, and then from 390 to 580. Those are too big of jumps. So
Yeah.
we have really high pressure at the bottom of the pressure zones and really low pressure at the top of the pressure zones. And so in order to reconfigure the entire systems, both systems, with an additional intermediate pressure zone would be astronomically huge monetarily, okay? But at the top of the three, we've kind of solved the issue a little bit at the top of the 260 by putting in a little bit of an intermediate zone over kind of, it's east of Sydney and kind of up but between Melcher and Division up in there. And so there's an intermediate zone that pumps again, it has to pump against something. So it pumps against a pressure reducing station. But to solve the top of the 390, West Sound Utility District has a pressure zone that's up higher. So one of the things that I've kind of been toying around with is doing a wholesale purchase from them and creating a higher pressure zone that is actually served from them. And if we get it wholesale, then sell our meters and not give up our retail service area, then we're still going to have the revenue from that we should have in our retail service area, but yet not have to supply the water or boost it, because we can't boost it against nothing. It has to be boosted against something,
Right.
against those valves. So I've just been, I've only come up with that concept in the last few days. So I'm still exploring it in my head.
It's one of those aha moments.
Yes, yeah.
Mhm.
Let's think outside the box. Yes, exactly.
Okay, anything else?
No, unless you have questions about anything in particular. Like I said, I knew this would be a short meeting. I just wanted to make sure that you guys were updated on everything that's going on in the world of utilities.
Should we set a date, Jackie?
Sure.
Next
Yes.
month? The 10th? Or how soon do you think you want to meet again? Will you have enough material?
I don't know that I'll have anything really substantial by the 10th. And plus, that's only a couple weeks into our new public works director. So maybe putting it off until the 14th of November would be, give him a little bit of breathing area. Let me help him get up to speed with utilities and then I should have some more. Hopefully I can tell you that we've done our report of examination to ecology by then. But
Oh, that would be wonderful. Yes, okay. Let's say November 14th then. Good.
Good.
great. And again, as you go into, I'll kind of put it back off to the side, but I've got a cart with a couple of the water meters and other things on it so that you can look at them when you go in. Okay.
Fine. Yes, thank you so
Good.
much.
Okay, I'm gonna turn off the recording if that's okay.
Sounds good. Okay, and we'll see you all really soon.